Hey guys, welcome back. We're so glad you're here today for Kix Kids. We're learning about the fruit of the spirit this summer. Today, we're going to be learning about goodness. That's pretty vague. I hope the rest of the video can shine a light on what goodness is. Now we've got a snack, story, and craft for you that's gonna be super duper fun, so let's get going. Hello, welcome to the snack. Today we're going to be making fruit nachos. It's going to be so good. We're basically going to cut up apples and then put a whole bunch of sweet stuff on top. I think it's going to be amazing. So what we've got here is we've got 2 apples. I use Cortland because they're good for both cooking and for just munching down on. So they're just really good multi-purpose apples to have in the house. So that's what I usually use there. And we've got assorted sweet stuff. All of these are actually Chippets for some reason, because that's what we have. We have sea salt caramel Chippets. We have butterscotch Chippets. We have just normal chocolate chips, semi-sweet. We've got white chocolate chip Chippets. And we've got toffee Chippets, Skor bar Chippets. And those are really good. So the recipe calls for caramel, chocolate syrup, and chocolate chips and white chocolate chips. But you're allowed to tweak it a little. And you can add pretty much anything you want, but it's probably a good idea to check with a parent first. For example, I seriously considered getting some nice marshmallows to go on, but on second thought, I'm not sure if it would fit really well. And I love marshmallows, but probably not with my fruit nachos. So check with a parent to make sure that what you want to put on will actually work to put on. So that's our ingredients, and our stuff that we just need is we've got some bowls that we'll use to put in the chocolate chips and stuff in the microwave over there. We've got a measuring cup. You could just use if you had a little measuring cup for measuring dry ingredients, you could just use that, the 1/4 cup thing, but I couldn't find one of those, so that's what we're using now. We've got a cutting board for cutting on a board, and a knife, also for cutting. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to take our apples and we're going to want to wash them. So let's go do that. Alright, so we've got our apples nice and clean. You can still see the water on them from how close I am to it. So what we're going to want to do next is we're going to want to use the cutting board. Now, knives, no, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to even test it like that because knives are sharp. And so you're going to want to be careful, and you're going to want to use an older person's help, like your parent or maybe a big sibling. Make sure that you're at least 14 if you're doing it without adult supervision. All right, so we're going to start to cut the apples. So if you don't have something crazy fancy to do it just for you, we're going to sort of cut it almost in half, but try our best to avoid the core as much as possible. And we're going to just sort of cut a square around the core. And then we got a little bit of core in it, so we're going to sort of cut into it at an angle and then cut into it at an angle again and sort of cut a triangle out so that we don't have any of that icky stuff around the seeds. You know what I'm talking about, right? Those are really annoying to have in your nachos, so we're going to just cut that out. And it's kind of hard to cut out the middle if it's a completely flat surface, so I'm going to just cut the first half that I made in half again so that we can make a nice triangle and get rid of the core. And so now we've got some big chunky apple slices, but these are really big and chunky. I can't make nachos out of this. So we're going to cut them thinly. You can cut it really, really thin, or you can cut it kind of thick. It's all what you prefer. I'm cutting it decently thin. Like I'd say there's like, I don't know how big an inch is, so I'm going to say about 5 millimeters, half a centimeter. Make sure you do not cut your fingers, because that's painful, and then you have a hurt finger and bloody nachos, and that's just two bad things. So you're going to want to be very, very careful. So now we've got one apple all cut up into nice little slices. And so we're going to do the same thing for the other apple. All right, so we've got all of our apple all chopped up. So what we're going to want to do now is we're going to want to get our chocolate ready, our nice topping. So we're going to want to open up the bags. All right, so you're gonna wanna use scissors to open up Chip It bags at least. Ooh, that smells good. So you're gonna wanna put like about a 1/4 cup in each bowl. You could eyeball it, but at least for the first one, so I can get a good idea, I'm going to use a measuring cup. Oh no, that's way too many. That's a 1/2 cup. Wait a second, I can just pour it out until I've got a 1/4 cup. You know what, maybe I'll just use a 1/2 cup, whatever. So we're going to want to put all of the things that we want melted into bowls. I think from now on I can eyeball it. I have a good idea of how much I should put in each bowl. All right, so I've got some Chip Its in some bowls. So now I'm going to take one of these bowls over to the microwave, and on a low power level, I'm going to put the bowls in the microwave one at a time for 30 seconds each. And then these nice little Chip Its will be all melty. And while I'm doing that, well, you'll see. So let's put the first one in. I'll start with white chocolate. So I've got a plate here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of lay out the apples. I'm going to want to try to get them overlapping, but it's fine if they're not. You could be fancy and put it in a circle, but that's hard to do unless you cut your apples very, very, very thin, which is very hard to do. So I'm just going to sort of layer them on as the chocolates cook. So the white chocolates come out of the microwave, but it's not melted yet. So we're going to want to put it in for some more. We're going to want to stir it to make sure the heat is all evenly distributed first, but then we're going to want to put it in for another round. So it's back to laying out apples. Nice, nice. Thanks, Montana. How's it looking? Any melted?
Do you have a spoon?
Yeah, I do. Here. Oh, thank goodness. Thanks.
Is there any more you need melted?
Yes. So at least I know how high it needs to go now, though.
You just gotta stir it every time.
Right. So once you've got one of your chocolates melted, you can sort of drizzle it over the top. All right, so all of our apples are laid out, so all that's left to do is melt the other chocolates. I think I'll only melt this one and leave the other two to be sprinkled. So let's do that. New spoon.
I can keep an eye on it if you need to do other stuff.
I have nothing else to do. You can lick the white chocolate.
Okay.
All right, so our chocolate is back from the microwave. So we're going to pour that over. Now, in case you missed it, we basically just did the microwaving in 30-second spurts while stirring between, because that's how you're supposed to do it. And I just learned that just now, because I don't melt things that are chocolatey in the microwave very often. Thank you, Montana. And we're only melting the proper chocolates, the whitened chocolatey chocolates. But you can melt more things, you can not melt more things, you can melt and sprinkle. But once this is all sort of spreaded over top, we're going to do the sprinkling of the other two things. And then it'll be done. It's almost done. And it's smelling good. And I'm betting it's gonna be tasting good. All right, let's do some sprinkling. The other bowl has sea salt caramel chippets and the score things in it, because I thought, hey, those can probably be melted together into a cool concoction. I was gonna do the melt and sprinkle thing, but you know, I'm impatient. And now we've got some fruit nachos. They're apple nachos. They look so good. Like, come on guys, look at that. I don't know if you can see it. Can they see it? I don't want to tilt it too much. It looks pretty good. I'm gonna have a taste. I'm gonna try and get an apple that has all three flavors on top. All right, all three flavors and some of the sauces. Let's go. Oh, that works better than I thought it would work. You guys should make this, it's really good. Oh, that's good. All right, have a good story. I hope you enjoy it almost as much as I'm enjoying these apple nachos. Enjoy your apple nachos if and when you make them. Bye. Hello, welcome to the story. Today we're learning about goodness, the next fruit of the spirit. We usually hear about goodness when we do something well. Good job, people will say that. Or when we act in a nice way, people will say, you're such a good person. But what does that really mean? What does it have to do with God and the fruit of the Spirit too? Well, goodness is when we're honest, polite, and do our best. And God is very, very good. He's so good that everything good comes from him. So just like the other fruits of the Spirit, when we stick with God, the goodness inside of us grows. Let's look at a story in the Bible, found in the book of Daniel, chapter 3. You can look it up if you want to, or you can just listen to me. I'm going to give a quick summary. There once was a king called Nebuchadnezzar. It's a hard name, I know. He made a statue, a huge statue, out of gold, and told everyone in the statue that whenever they heard music, they had to worship the statue. Now that wasn't a very nice thing to do. It wasn't a very good thing to do. Nebuchadnezzar told everyone that they had to treat the statue like it was God, or else they would be set on fire. That is very, very bad. But 3 men named Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego refused to worship the statue. The king had them thrown into a ridiculously hot furnace, but because they were good and still worshipped the real God despite the threat of fire, God sent an angel to save them from the furnace. King Nebuchadnezzar saw that they weren't even a little burnt, and he let everybody know about God, and people didn't have to worship a silly statue anymore. Now, if we stay with God, it'll be easier to be good, and good things might just happen to us. I've got some questions for you to talk about with your family and friends, or just to think about. What is goodness? What are some examples of God's goodness? How can we share goodness with others? When I treasure goodness, it's stored in my heart and ready to be shared. Can you say that with me? When I treasure goodness, it's stored in my heart and ready to be shared. That's great. That's really, really good. Let's pray. Dear God, thank you for being good, even when we're not. And thank you so much for helping us to be good. Thank you for saving people, and thank you that we don't have to worship a big old statue of gold. That's nice. It's nice to worship a God that can actually do stuff. Thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Hi guys, welcome back to the craft. For this craft, we're going to be making a bird feeder because we're learning all about goodness and it's good to give back to birds. For this, you're going to need popsicle sticks, string, 4 pieces to be exact, scissors, and hot glue or white glue. I'm using hot glue because it dries faster. But first, what you're going to want to do with your popsicle sticks is you're going to want to take 10 of them and line them up so they're next to each other like this. Make sure they're all nice and lined up straight. Once that's done, you're going to take a popsicle stick and you're just going to put a nice strip of glue on it and then just glue them together like this. This part here is going to be this part of your bird feeder, the bottom part. And then you do that on another one. If you're using hot glue, I recommend having an adult with you because it is hot and you don't want to burn yourself with it. And once they're glued like this, you're going to want to make sure it's nice and dry and then flip it over. If there's some pieces that aren't glued, that's okay. You can just go back and put some more glue and then hopefully they will stick. So we'll set this over here while we work on our next part. So for this, you're going to want to just take your popsicle sticks and you're going to stack them on top of each other. Essentially like this. So I'm gonna get to that. You don't need a lot. You can just put a drop on each end and stick your popsicle sticks to it like this. And now you repeat that until you have a box shape. Okay, once you get about 4 layers, 3 or 4 layers in, you're going to take your big popsicle stick and you're going to break it in half. These are going to be glued on here, and this is what the birds are going to sit on when they go to eat. So just do the same thing, just put some glue on the end and make sure you stick it so that the long end is facing outwards, like this. And now once that's done, you can go ahead and continue building up around it. And just one more here, like this, and like this. Once you have this shape built like this, you're going to go and grab your base, and the end or the side with the 2 popsicle sticks is going to go on the bottom. So what you're going to do is you're going to flip this over, and on this one right here, just add a strip of glue, and on this side as well. And now we're just going to stick it on here like this. Press it down nice and firm so that we have a base. Now with your string, there are 4 pieces. So you're going to want to take it and put it through the side like this. And then we're going to tie it onto this like this. I do it twice just to make sure it's nice and secure. And we're going to do this to all other 3 sides. Once that's done, I like to just take the extra, like the short pieces of string, and just cut them smaller. I also, just to make sure that they're nice and secure and they won't move, I just take a drop of hot glue, just so I know they will not move and they are nice and in place. Now, you're going to take your strings and you're going to just gather them up. Take all 4 like this, and then take them together, and at the very, very top, you're going to tie a knot to make sure that they stay together. Like this. And then here is your bird feeder. You can hang it on a tree, you can hang it on a window, wherever you just want to look at the birds. And you put your bird seeds in here, and the birds will come and eat it, and then they're going to look so cute. I hope you enjoy. I hope you had fun. Thank you for making this with me. Wow guys, I don't know about you, but I had so much fun today learning about goodness. If you had fun, make sure to like and share this video so we can help other kids learn all about goodness too. We are so happy you joined us. If you want to continue learning about the fruit of the Spirit, join us next week where we will talk all about faithfulness. See you all next week. Bye.
So what we're going to want to do is, if you have something super cool like an apple magic, or like something that you can just put on an apple and cut it up, you can totally use that, but I don't see one. I don't think that the church has one, or at least not one easily accessible. I remember we used to have one, like when we made applesauce.
What is it?
Like an apple magic where you just shove the apple on and you crank it and it goes on. Yeah, but like years ago, we had one. It might have just been Paul's, because we used to make applesauce and like sell it for fundraisers and stuff. It was great applesauce. It was my mom's recipe.
Oh, nice.
So.
No, yeah, I've never seen one here. Yeah. You want to start that again? Or
No.
you're good?
Put it in the blooper reel. I'm using a serrated knife. If you had a really, really sharp non-serrated knife, you could probably use that as well, but I like to sort of saw things when I'm cutting things, like use a back and forth motion. I find it easier for me. But if you had a knife that could just go like chop and chop an apple, you could probably do that. But then you'd want to be at least like 18 if you were doing that without parent supervision. So, you know, just be careful. Maybe don't use a knife that could cut an apple clean in two, because it could probably cut a finger pretty easily too. So, yeah, just use a normal knife. Doesn't actually say quarter cup. What kind of stupid measuring cup doesn't have a quarter cup? That's like such an incredibly useful measurement to have. Goodness gracious. So once you've got one of your chocolates melted, you can sort of drizzle it over the top. Scoop it over the top. Get it over the top. Put it over the top. I'm acting over the top. Wah! Gosh, that was cringe.